This is the Furlough Podcast, brought to you by All American Ford in Aniana, Alabama. Stop by and see John Makovica and his team today.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Furlough Podcast. We got on Chic today, and I hope I say her name right because we've talked off air, and I said I'm probably going to mess it up, and I'll try not to mess it up. I am horrible with names. I actually was talking to Chingy on I don't know if you know Chingy the rapper. I messed one of his song names up. I was like red-faced about it, but he was quick to correct me. So I throw that out there. I'm quick to mess one up. We're happy to have you on. Chic is the author of the book Jakobi and Me, and I appreciate you peeling out a little time for me today. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell us about your book. I haven't got a copy of it yet. I was talking to one of our mutual friends this week, and he said that you would be a good person to have on, and you had this book that you had coming out or is out, right?
It is, yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about it.
So Jakobi and Me is about my two sons. I have Amir, who is 10, Jakobi, who is 1. And Jakobi is special needs. He was born with a rare form of dwarfism. So it causes him to be ventilator dependent just so it can help him breathe. So with the book, it's basically Amir's perspective of Jakobi and talking about Jakobi's condition, as well as just letting people know that it's okay to be different, because Jakobi, he looks like everybody, but he's small, his arms are little, and then on top of that he has a machine that helps him breathe. So it's just about just showing people that Jakobi is just like any other baby, and just anybody who has a difference, that you're still who you are.
Now, I personally don't know anybody in that position. Do they now the ventilator part? I got a couple of questions on that. One, is that a certain time frame? Is that something that he grows out of?
I mean, prayerfully he won't need it forever, but right now he has a trach that is connected to the vent, which is what gives him breaths and also pressures. How we breathe like regular, we don't even think about it. I think, to put it into perspective, with Jakobi's lungs being so small, so we breathe, us, you and I, and mostly everybody else, 12 to 25 breaths per minute. Jakobi breathes about 53 breaths per minute.
Wow.
So he works very hard. You can't tell. I mean, he's like happy and stuff, but the ventilator helps him with those extra breaths and pressure, because he can't take deep breaths like that.
Now,
That's
with all the COVID stuff that came on and they started talking about ventilators, were you afraid that was going to affect you and him in any way?
No, he actually has 2 ventilators, and he's not on a hospital vent either. It's a home vent. So I don't know with the COVID patients if everybody, because his vent isn't nearly as powerful as a hospital vent.
I got you. So, but you had the opportunity to kind of relate to some of the people that did get sick and understand what they were going to have to deal with on that.
In a way, for Jakobi, it was more like people needed that because COVID was causing fluid in your lungs, and
I got you.
Jakobi's lungs are just small and he needs extra help breathing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't.
What's his brother think about it? I mean, when you had to explain the differences and stuff like that, because he's a young man himself, is that something that did you have help with that, or is that something you just kind of had to feel on your own?
No, it was something that I just felt on my own. Amir, he's 10, but he's not your average 10-year-old.
Oh, is he smart, huh?
He's very smart. He's very in tune with his feelings and all of that. So when I told him that Jakobi would be different, he was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "He'll be a little person." So, people still call little people midgets, which, by the way, is not, it's really offensive to little people to call them midgets.
That's another one I try not even say a word because I don't even know. I
wouldn't have known if I didn't have a kid who's a little person, but yes, it's just like somebody calling me the N-word. Like, it's very offensive to them.
Yeah.
so I just pulled up pictures and stuff and show him how Jakobi would look and how much smaller and stuff he would be.
Hmm.
And he was just like, I'm not gonna love him any different just because he looks different.
Right.
And then, Jakobi is here and everybody loves him.
So what got you going on your book? I mean, so did you just have a moment where you like, I need to write down my passions and feelings about this, or did you kind of get prompted by somebody else? How did it come
Uh
about?
no. So I'm like truly a woman of faith, and things drop to me and come to me in different ways. So Jakobi was actually in the hospital for 6 months of his life before he even came home.
Wow.
And with him being there, something that he loved to do was be read to. He pays attention to the pictures. When you change your voice, he loves being read to.
Oh
So
wow.
I had started writing a book years ago, but it was like urban fiction. It wasn't a book like this. And the book is a children's book.
Hmm.
So it's like, it's colorful. It has one of my favorite pictures in here is this one because it really captivates what my kids look like. And
So he really got that much hair.
he does. So it's just a children's book, and it was something for me. I want to bring awareness to this particular type of dwarfism. It's very rare. He's one of 14 kids in the United States with it. Um,
Wow.
Most kids do pass away due to respiratory distress because, again, their lungs are very small. So I was like, what's a way for me to bring awareness to something that is not as common and people read all the time, and
Right.
kids are the future. So why not make a book that are for, Amir's 10, he can read it. Even if your kid is Jacoby's 1 and you can read it to him, it's very simple, and it's just highlighting the qualities of having a sibling with a disability as well as him and
Right.
his day to day.
Having a child of my own, I feel I understand where you're coming from in a sense, and I probably could do a better job. My son's about to be 16, and he's very in tune, got a big heart, all that good stuff, and I've always tried to talk to him like an adult, but I think a lot of parents don't, like, they shy away from that. They shy away from things being different, and I think that we could probably do better as a society to embrace different and understand, because then you don't get the weird looks, or you don't get the bullying, or you don't get the things of that nature when people can understand what's going on. I think
Yes.
not knowing is what creates weirdness.
Ignorance really is bliss. Like if people don't know what they don't know, until it's been people who it's crazy, but they've walked up to me and they see a ventilator and they see his trach, and somebody basically asks like, was he not mentally stable because he had a vent? And I'm just looking and I'm
What does
like,
that have to do with the other?
what does but it's just people just don't know. So I mean, a lot of my sister, she was like, "Oh, she had the right one because if that was me, we would have been." I'm like, but she just, I mean, it was annoying, but at the
Sure.
same time, she didn't know, so she kept saying his name like Jakobi, Jakobi, and he's looking at her, and she's like, "Wow, he knows his name. Like, why wouldn't he know his
You know, aren't we really stupid? I mean,
name?"
as a
Yeah.
species, aren't we really dumb? And I'm sure my disclaimer is I'm sure I've done some stupid stuff like that, but hopefully not too much. But that's good though. I mean, and where can everybody get your book? What kind of you
So the book can be purchased at Jakobi, which is Jakobi and me dot no Jakobi and me book.com.
okay. And is it just a softback, or is it and
No, it's hard.
oh, okay. Oh, okay, cool. And who did your illustrations? That illustration's pretty good.
Oh, my wonderful friend Andres Levon. She is amazing. I told her exactly what I wanted in words, and we went back and forth with some of it, but she captured everything perfectly.
What is your family think, as far as, is that something that ran is that a family trait? Is that something they were
Genetic, no. So It has nothing to do with genetics. It happens to like 1 in 50,000 people. Like it's not
Wow.
that's the crazy thing. It's not something that's just like, all right, your mom had this gene. It's
Right.
one of those things to where at conception, one gene mutated and created this. Like it just out of
Just
the blue.
out of the blue. And
Yeah.
so obviously if you're into something, if life gives you something like that that we don't know anything about, like me, I'm a research kind of guy. So is that something that you had to once say, okay, let me back my question up. Did you know before
Yes.
birth? And if so, did that just spin your mind into all kind of research on what, to me, I'd be getting books and online and figuring out what, things were going on.
So, um, to the first question, yes, I knew prior to having him. I found out at my 20-week checkup where people normally go in to find out the gender of the baby. That's when I found out because his femur was smaller. And as soon as the doctor seen it, he was like, something is going on. He said it could have either been a form of skeletal dysplasia, which is a fancy name for dwarfism,
Okay.
or um, it could have been Down syndrome. So that same day after that appointment, about 2 hours later, I went to see a specialist and they were like, yeah, it's definitely something. So long story short, they ended up taking some fluid out of my belly, getting it tested. It came back that he had the name of his condition is called thanatophoric skeletal dysplasia. And
It's a long
um,
ass word.
it's so long. So I did do research. However, because it's so rare, like if you were to Google it right now, you would see nothing positive. Like there
Wow.
would be nothing about a survival rate. Um, there's nothing positive about Jakobi's condition online. So I am very resourceful. So I, get on social media. I'm typing in different names for this. And then I ended up finding a Facebook group. Now, the Facebook group, it helped in a way, but a lot of those women accepted their baby's fate and just was like,
Oh
when I
no.
posted it, they were like, oh, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Because what they wanted me to do as well was to terminate him. He was like, he's not going to have, he won't make it. He's not going to make it.
Wow.
So I had, I think, 2 weeks he gave me in Ohio. I forgot what the time is for termination. I think it's 22 or 24 weeks. And I had 2 weeks to figure out if I was going to keep him or not because he was like, his chances of living are very slim. And I just decided to go with my faith, and I told the doctor I was going to keep him. There was if this is all I have with him, then this is where I'm going. I'm not going to terminate him.
That really throws you into a weird spectrum of the, your choice kind of conversation and why abortions should be legal versus other things that people fight about. I mean, did how did that hit you though, as far as when those people said that? I mean, I don't know. I can honestly
Um,
say I wouldn't know how to react. I mean, because obviously as a parent, as you did, you love, you I would think that you instantly would have love in your heart, so
exactly.
that would be unreal to go through.
It was super emotional for sure. I was like the first few visits, I have to see this doctor every other week or every week. And he was so negative. Every time I told him, like, yeah, we're going to keep him, he tried to hit me with more facts of why we shouldn't. So when I decided to keep him, he was like, well, basically, when Jakobi is born, he'll go to like baby hospice and they'll put morphine patches on his cheeks and then just let him pass away.
What?
Um, yeah, so I didn't know. So again, the group I had got into, it was somebody who reached out to me and was like, "Don't listen to these women." She sent me pictures of her son. He actually ended up passing away at maybe 4 months. I think he was about 4 months. But during the time Jakobi was in a hospital, before I had him, she said, tell them you want extreme measures. And I was like, what does that mean? And she was like, anything that you want, if you want them to save him, they have to do everything they can to save your son. My
Wow.
doctor never gave me that option. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Wow.
So once I decided that, and I told them, I ended up reporting that doctor, got a new doctor. And she was a woman of God. The soon as she met me, she was saying scripture. She didn't even know if I believed in God or anything like
Right.
that. But she instantly made me feel comfortable. Doctor's appointments were easier. There was no more crying after every appointment because they're telling you your baby is going to die. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, it was emotional.
That to say the least. Oh my God. To say the least. Well, I mean, yeah, and he's how old now?
He is 15 months now.
15 months, man. He's getting to be a big boy, I guess.
Oh my gosh, he has so much personality. Like he does everything the doctor said that he would not do. Like Jakobi is like, okay, he can't walk. His head is, of course, bigger than his body. So we're working on head control.
Yeah,
Certain physical things my baby isn't able to do. He
sure.
doesn't talk that much. He says dad, dad. He knows what he wants. And, he can say hi and hey and things like that, but he's so smart. He understands what you say to him, even though we may not understand
What he
what,
says to
what he's
you.
saying to us. So he's literally like, he's the light for us. He honestly is. He makes like I can't have bad days. I literally can't, because when people tell you that something is basically impossible to happen and you witness a miracle literally in front of you, I don't take nothing for granted. Not a day, not a time, not a nothing.
Doesn't that really reinforce when people tell you, oh, no matter what the situation is, people say you can or you shouldn't or you whatever, and you're like, no, if I want it bad enough, I'll do it.
It's the truth. And I live that. I'm a testimony of that, not only with my son, but just life period. When it comes to manifesting things and the things that you want out of life, you can do it as long as you believe in yourself and you put the work in. I never had a doubt in my mind that my son wouldn't be here. I didn't speak of if. Every time doctors would say, well, if he makes it home, I would literally correct them and say when he makes it home.
There you
You're going to
go.
change the language when you're talking to me about my son. And that's what they did. So the conversations went from if to, okay, you guys ready to go home? I didn't think he wasn't going to make it. He had bad days. It was days where I thought I lost him.
Sure.
So it wasn't like it was just, oh, smooth sailing. It wasn't that it was smooth sailing, but my faith and what I knew God was capable of. And I know that he didn't let me carry this baby for this long. And, he's 6 months and we're still in the hospital for him not to be able to come home. I knew he would come home. I just didn't know when. But I
Right.
never had a doubt in my mind that my baby wouldn't be here with
What kind of reception did you get? Like when I'm just envisioning this huge party when he come home. I know
us.
that. I just know how
So
my people are. They've been a madhouse.
it honestly wasn't, because so with people with trachs, especially babies, Jakobi is susceptible to so many germs and so much stuff.
Oh,
So when we first came home, it was just at the time his dad, me, my son, and his grandma. And then people came at different times, kind of like when you have a newborn and everybody doesn't come at the same time
right,
just
right.
because it'll be a lot. But um no, Jakobi, he got a lot of love. He still gets a lot of love. So
Yeah, if he knows
that's
nothing else, he'll know love, right?
yeah, he can feel it. And that's also, so I started an Instagram page for him, because with this particular condition, it was hard trying to see kids like Jakobi. Like, okay, what does this look like for me? Is he going to be smart? Like, will he have some type of learning disability? Anything like that, I wondered. So I did find somebody, and her son is 14, and he does have the same condition as Jakobi. He isn't he does have also like some learning disabilities and things like that. But what I've realized, I am in touch with 3 parents out of the 14 that we know of. And they're all three different, even with Jakobi. Like, they're all different. It's just, certain kids who are autistic or have Down syndrome, like, yeah, they have the same diagnosis. However, how they learn is different. The things that they do is different.
Mm-hmm.
They're all very, very different. So with Jakobi's page, I just wanted to give people hope. So he has over 6,000 followers. People are so amazing. He goes viral like every other week.
That's
It's
awesome.
always somebody coming to me with something positive. I mean, you do have some negative trolls on,
Oh
social
God.
media, of course. I don't
Oh.
think it would be right if you didn't. But something that it helped with is when other people kids were diagnosed with this, like, they reached out to me. One girl, she's like my little sister. She lives in North Carolina, but her son ended up passing away as well, but
Mm.
still built that bond. Seeing Jakobi gave her hope. It was another girl, same thing. It's so nice to be able to see a baby that they give you all of these things on how your child is going to look or how your child won't learn, and you go to Jakobi's page and he's smiling, he's dancing to Drake, he's cute, he wears clothes, he's smart. It gives people hope. So it wasn't, for me, a lot of people frown upon people creating pages for babies and kids
Right.
and stuff because they think it's for clout. But for me, it wasn't for clout. It's honestly to be able to help somebody else. If my son only had 200 followers, I would still be grateful because it's a reason they're following us, and obviously they're getting something out of the positive vibes that I want his page to bring to the world.
Well, even if they don't have the same diagnosis, if they have something different, but that they're struggling with, it's good to see that, somebody's trying to turn a positive light into it. And,
Exactly.
and
Because some
so,
people, everybody we follow don't have special needs or kids with special needs.
right,
They're just like, man, I was having a bad day, but look at him. Look at your son. He brings me so much hope. And, I try to be as positive as I can on his page as well, just so you can feel energy, no matter, you don't got to be right next to somebody to
right.
feel that.
Puts a lot of life into perspective as well, too, when we sit and argue about some of the really dumb things.
It does. It
You're
does.
like, hey, man, you you may not be having as bad day as Chic on the days of the beginning now that you're doing better, but we I think we get in our own little bubbles and forget about things, and we get really trivial,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Life is different having a kid with special needs, and it's not like anybody can keep Jakobi. So everybody can't watch him, and I'm just running out. Like, I'm 30, I want to have fun and go out, and
Sure.
certain things for me, like, I can't do
Hmm.
anymore or do as much of because I do have to make sure he is always good.
I'll watch him. We'll be on TikTok videos for us all. My son's is TikTok famous, so
Oh man, I'm still learning TikTok. I mean, my 10-year-old, he knows how to do all the graphics. I did a TikTok like a month or two ago. Got pretty good response from it, but I don't think I'll be a fluent TikToker. I don't think that's gonna happen.
you never know, right? You never know. So before we wrap it up and everything like that, I always have this question when somebody's done something creative like you. What do you hope to get from your book? What do you hope people get from your book and when you get it out there?
So I mean, what I hope to get from the book is just a first off, positive response on top of people just realizing that differences are what make us who we are. One of the first quotes in my book is from somebody, his name is Humble the Poet, and it says there's no such thing as normal, you are who you are. Even when I talk to people, they're like, well, if he was a normal baby, and I'm like, so what is normal? Like, what do you
That's a
mean a
fair
normal baby?
question.
Like, he is a normal baby. Sometimes, like, the language that I use is average. Like, the average kid, because he isn't average. To me, he's extraordinary. But the average kid, yeah, they're walking at 15 months and they're talking and they're, doing a little bit of stuff. So I just want people to really understand that having somebody in your life who is different and still just highlighting that in them. And also just showing the love between siblings, because that's a part of the book too. Amir is really just saying how much he loves his brother and how grateful he is for his brother. So, and not even aside from the book, I did all of this with having a special needs child on top of a 10-year-old. So when it's something that you want to do, you can do it. I had a lot going on. He was in a hospital when I started this, and then he came home and life changed, and
Right.
I still got it done. So it's like, even if somebody sees this and they know the situation, it's like, dang, she did that, still having all of that on her plate. I just want people to know, if you want something bad enough, you can get it done, no matter what is against you. I don't care about time, any of that. You can make it work.
Yeah. If you want it bad enough, you can make it work.
Yeah,
Well, I hope, that you get great rave reviews, and there's maybe a follow-up book with all this, and because
yeah.
life is ever changing, and
Life
the
is
story
always
never
changing.
ends, right?
No, I will have a book, a follow up one day. Jakobi and Me is, I just put it out March 31st is when it launched, and we're selling good. I have an interview with somebody from Dubai to read the book to their class, and they'll
Wow.
purchase books. So it's like the opportunities are limitless.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we're reaching past the stars over here.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful.
So yeah.
All right, Chic. It has been great talking to you. If you'll hang on with me, I'll get our bed music out and I'll say a few things off air, but we were glad to have you on. And one more time, what's the name of the website that everybody can get the book?
So the website is Jakobi, Jakobi, and mebook.com. And also his Instagram is baby bays, BAYS 19.
Maybe Bays 19.
Yep,
I,
19.
let me write that down real quick because we will definitely follow.
And we do follow back.
Oh, there we go. There you go. There you go. Well, all right, Sheik, you hang on with me, everybody.
Okay.
Everybody, make sure that you go and check out Jakobi and Me. It's a positive message. We definitely think that in the days and times of right now, we need as much positivity as we can get, and we look forward to having you back on the show again.
Thank you. I can't wait to come back.
All right.